what are our sources of self-esteem? And one way of assessing that is how do we spend our spare time? So I
Mm,
probably spend about 5 to 10% of my spare time on Twitter. I probably spend about 50% of my spare time on social media, meaning preparing for and delivering YouTube shows, live streams, creating essays for my blog. And so if I'm spending, let's say, 60% of my spare time on social media, it's probably fair to say that 60% of my self esteem comes from what I do on social media. And then I'm thinking about one very beautiful girlfriend I had who, even though she was 41, when I asked her what percentage of your self esteem comes from your looks, she said 100%. So
mm,
you spend a fair amount of time
mm.
on social media. So how would you break down the sources of your self esteem, and would it be reflected by your choices in how you spend your spare time?
Well, in terms of spare time, since the 7th of October, I would say, other than exercising and occasionally socializing with colleagues, the social media has been the large majority. Writing about the war specifically, and I think it reflects some maybe personal personality tendencies to obsessing over specific issues. I even had that with Holocaust denial in the past, and now I have that with this, combined with like a sense of moral outrage. So in terms of, so I actually would differ with you because I'm spending a vast amount of time on social media since October 7th. I always spent a lot of time, but much more since then. And but I don't feel like my ego is tied up in a one-to-one way like your ex. The more time I spend on social media, the less sensitive I get to criticism of me on social media. I don't know if you had that phenomenon, but it just kind of the sting of it begins to wane.
Yeah, I
Um,
noticed a lot of people saying that. I'm skeptical of the claim. It
mm,
may be true. It's not verifiable, but
right.
just for laughs, if I say broke down my sources of my self esteem would be say 60% of what I produce on social media and my blog,
Mm,
20% what I do in a volunteer capacity, 20% my participation in organized religion and accompanying uh, social networks that I developed from that. How would you break down the sources of your self esteem? Would it be 100%
mm.
your good looks?
I would say far more self-esteem I derive from what I'm doing, like right now, doing historical research, writing, like getting my first peer-reviewed publication in history. That was a big self-esteem boost, right? Like when I shared that with you, I felt cool, for example. So I think that for me, the professional, even if I'm spending in a given period of a couple of weeks, I'm spending more time on the social media than the professional career. If you look at the total hours, I still would say I get much more satisfaction and self esteem from that.